Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Rampage and welcome to Fable Anniversary. Now, just before I get into the video, I just want to announce that I am actually sick still with the flu, so that's probably why I sound a little bit weird. But, why am I making this video? Well, this is going to be my analysis or sort of first impressions so far of Fable Anniversary. Keep in mind, I've only played about 43 seconds of the game, and I'll explain why I'm doing my sort of impressions on it this fucking early. But anyway, so the first sort of screen that you'll see is this one right here, the Fable Anniversary screen, which if you're watching this in 1080p you'll find that it's kind of blurred, sort of washed out, and that's because it's an upscaled image. It looks like it's about 720p upscaled to 1080p, which is not a good idea. Now, after this screen you'll see this. Now keep in mind that I am playing with a higher FOV. You can do that with the flawless widescreen application, I believe. You download the Fable Anniversary sort of plugin and it'll add fixes and stuff like that. I think it's like FOV fix, HUD fix and all this other stuff. But if you can still see, the menu says an A next to continue game. Now, why does it say that, you might ask? Because the menu in Fable Anniversary has no mouse support whatsoever. I don't know if you can hear me moving my mouse, but it's not fucking doing anything. So, the way you navigate is with the up-down arrows. Now, what is that A button? Right? You click A to accept. You fucking click A to accept, and you click B to go back. In what fucking world would a programmer look at this and go, yes, these are the keys that should be required to navigate through the main menu? No one. No good fucking programmer would look at that and go, yes, this should be in the final build of the game. Most programmers would look at this and go, okay, you know, up and down on the sort of arrows is fine. But then enter or backspace, I would assume, would be back and forth. Like enter should be, you know, clicking in. But then back, the actual back button on the keyboard, or back key, should be back, not B. Of all things. So let's check out the options menu. The options, audio. So you know you've got music, volume, sound, dialogue, sort of slider things. Now once again, you know it's kind of stupid as well because it's just a slider bar. How am I supposed to know what percent this is? Because if you're going from 0 to 100, you know this doesn't really make any sense if I can't actually see what it is. I assume that that's, you know, in 10 increments or 5 increments. But yeah, it's kind of pointless, to be honest. The next one, camera. So you've got game camera, invert or normal, bow camera, inverted or normal, brightness. Why is brightness under camera options? That doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Control options. Control scheme, you can change that to traditional Xbox controller or Fable 2 to Fable 3 inspired controls. Not 100% sure what that means, but okay. Also vibration is there as well. So let me switch that to keyboard and mouse. Gameplay options, interface opaquency, character highlights, subtitles, tutorials, and guildmaster help. Okay, that's all good and great. What about advanced? Advanced options, which should be, mind you, video options, has resolution, okay, full screen, VSync, geometry, LOD distance, which only goes to high, shadow distance, which for some reason needs to, you know, restart the game, landscape LOD distance, the only one that actually has ultra, anisotropic filtering, let me get it right, high, low, or medium. Anisotropic filtering has, what, 2, 4, 8, 16 times. so this kind of doesn't really make any sense, because when games do this kind of thing for anisotropic filtering, could mean anything. High could mean 8 or 16. Medium could mean 4 times or 8 times. Low could mean 4 times or 2 times. You know, like looking at that, it's probably 16, 4, and 2. But you know, you get what I'm talking about. It doesn't really mean anything. So that's, you know, you look at this main menu, and basically you can assume that it's going to be a bad port. Now, when we actually get into the game, let's see what happens. So the loading screen, this bit here, kind of like lags. It goes from, it sort of stutters between 60 frames per second and 30 frames per second, but only when it moves. But when it's like loading in slowly, it stays at 60. Now, the first cutscene, again, for some reason, because on the original, the Lost Chapters,
the small town of Oakvale,
the cutscene was also blurry, pixelated, fucking grainy. Haven't you learned yet that this is not acceptable? For some reason, it's actually stuttering right now. It's not staying at a constant 30 frames per second, which is a little bit weird, to be honest.
Come on, wake up. Daydreaming again, were you? Just like your mother, mind always wandering. Well, let it wander off to find your sister, will you?
Skip, and it freezes. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys noticed that, but the game actually started to freeze, or audio loop. Now, I've noticed that if I turn any form of anti-aliasing on, whether it's forced through the NVIDIA control panel or what have you, the game kind of goes a little bit weird and stutters, and it kind of freezes, audio loops, does some weird shit. Now, I'm not too sure why that is, because, you know, it's turning on a fucking filter that straightens out the lines within the game. So it doesn't really make any sense that only occurs when you turn anti-aliasing on. Now, another thing you'll note is when I spin around, there's a lot of motion blur. Now, while I'm recording, it's stuttering, which makes motion blur a lot fucking worse, but it's, you know, come on. Like, I've also got motion blur, and I believe it's motion blur pause or whatever, off in every ini file within this game. Why is there still motion blur? If I turn motion blur off, the filter for motion blur should stay off. The fact that it's still on is fucking retarded. I've seen this in several other games as well, so it's not just this one. Now, I believe that you can see my frames, hopefully you can, but currently it's at 45. This is while recording. For some reason this game actually drops about 15 frames, so I should be getting around 60 frames per second. I do have VSync on, so that could be why as well, but, you know, anyway. Let's talk about mouse control, shall we? So, this is me going in a full circle. As you can tell, up and down is a little bit retarded than left and right. There's also mouse acceleration and mouse smoothing enabled by default. I've noticed that when you turn it off, it does absolutely nothing anyway. And the fact that there's no mouse controls in the option menu, fucking, really? Escape is exit out of the menu. Are you kidding me? Anyway, now you'll also notice keyboard options. Keyboard options is only available once you're in the game, which is really weird. Not 100% sure why that is. Once again, we've got buttons that for some reason do two things, which, you know, it's not a good idea to do that sort of stuff when, like for interaction and cutscenes. Why the hell is tab for interactions? That makes no sense whatsoever. But you'll see on the right here with keyboard options where you can enable full screen or disable full screen, I assume, if you press it twice. Sorry, if you're full screen and then you press it one more time, it'll go windowed mode, I believe. Open game menu, inventory, all that sort of stuff is all fine. Now let's check if there's a console. Nope, there's no console. So, is this a good port so far? Well, compared to Fable The Lost Chapters, or Lost Chapters, no. This is a extremely horrible port. Considering that the original game, or the original port for PC, I don't know if you saw that, but the game froze again, had way better mouse support and felt a lot better. This game also has a lot of motion blur as well as the original, but that can be patched out. So can mouse controls. So if they get that up to snuff, then this port would, you know, be okay, as long as they fix motion blur and mouse support. So far, I haven't really noticed anything else other than a visual upgrade. Shadows still kind of look a little bit dicky, especially my cast shadow, or NPC, or sort of anything's cast shadows kind of look a little bit shit. As well as the overall textures. Audio loop, once again. So I'm just going to stay right here and not actually move, because that shit's really annoying. Actually, if I try and get the guy, the main character, to look at the chicken as they're kind of running, you can see that the animations are like stuttering. I don't know if you can actually see that. But, okay, it's good. Anyway, I don't know if you can see that, but the animations, either my head movements or the chicken's movements, kind of stutter, which is not good. Now, I don't know whether that's because the game is running at 60 frames per second, whether they were whether the game was intended to run at 30 frames per second. I have no idea. But I just find it hilarious that this game actually freezes when you turn or force anti-aliasing on. Now, this is my experience. I don't know whether this will happen with you or what's going on with my system, why it freezes like that, but it's ridiculous. I don't really know what else to say about it. Let me know if you've purchased Fable Anniversary Edition, whether on Xbox or on PC. But if you've purchased it on PC, let me know your experience. What issues have you experienced? Now, keep in mind that I've only played this game for about a minute, as you can see right here. So, this is my impression after playing a minute for this game. You can see how pathetic that is. But also, another thing to note is that when you're in the game, in the pause menu, you can use Enter to actually navigate, as well as the up-down arrows, which is kind of a little bit weird that that isn't a feature in the main menu. The whole keyboard and mouse thing just looks like a complete oversight. But anyway guys, my name is Rampage. Please don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe. But I would like to know your experience. Have you experienced similar issues? Or have you had other issues that I haven't actually mentioned? Leave them in the comment section below. But anyway, see you guys next time.